Childhood trauma, when parents become the culprits. Have you ever heard the saying, "Spare the rod, spoil the child"? Well, our grandparents believed in it. But sometimes, if the rod is used too much, that love can backfire and cause harm to the child. Today, let's have a heart-to-heart chat about childhood trauma, what it is, how it affects kids, and most importantly, how parents can avoid unintentionally hurting their children physically or emotionally. Sound good? Let's dive in. Childhood trauma and its long-term consequences. I want to start with something super important. Childhood trauma can have a massive impact on a child's future. Sometimes, these traumas leave invisible scars that stay with them for years. Did you know that a huge study by the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, found that childhood trauma is linked to long-term mental health issues, substance abuse, and even chronic illnesses like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes? So, what exactly is childhood trauma? It's not just about physical abuse. It also includes emotional abuse, neglect, or growing up in an unsafe home environment, like living with a parent who's abusive, struggling with addiction, or dealing with untreated mental health issues. Even things like divorce can leave deep marks on a child. And here's the tricky part: emotional abuse and neglect are much harder to spot. For instance, emotional abuse could be when you yell at your child, insult them, or make them feel small and scared all the time. Neglect? That's when parents don't show love, don't make the child feel like they're important, or when family members barely interact with or care about one another. When parents use harsh words, emotionally neglect their child's needs, or fail to provide emotional support, that's a type of trauma that often comes from within the home. And the worst part, emotional wounds are so subtle that they're usually only noticed when they manifest as behavioral issues, attitude changes, or emotional outbursts. By then, the damage has already grown deep, making healing much harder. This is why it's so crucial for us parents to be aware. Childhood trauma doesn't just go away, it can mess with how the brain develops, lead to anxiety, depression, or difficulty regulating emotions, and even cause health problems later in life. Trauma isn't the child's fault, it's our responsibility. Let me ask you this: do you believe a child is born bad? Of course not. Right? Every child comes into the world with their own temperament. Some are easygoing and adapt quickly, while others are more sensitive, harder to settle, or take time to adjust. A difficult child isn't bad, they simply need the right kind of support to feel secure and thrive. Now, when your toddler or preschooler grows up a bit, you might start seeing them act out, saying no all the time, throwing tantrums, hitting, biting, or refusing to cooperate. But these behaviors aren't because they're bad kids. Usually, it's because of things like they don't yet know how to manage their emotions, they lack certain skills and need more practice, they're holding in feelings they don't know how to express yet, or they feel unimportant, unheard, or unvalued in the family. When we As parents, lose our temper in response to these behaviors. We're not solving the root problem. In fact, think about this. Your child is likely already struggling with their own challenges while growing up. What they need is understanding and support, not anger. Parents need to manage their own emotions first. Here's the most important takeaway. Kids learn how to live by watching their parents. If you want your child to learn how to stay calm, manage their emotions, and respect others, you have to lead by example. When your child makes a mistake or behaves poorly, instead of yelling or getting angry, try this. Take a deep breath. Count to 10. And approach the situation calmly. Listen to them. Show empathy for how they're feeling. And acknowledge even the smallest efforts they're making to improve. The amazing thing is, when you do this, your child will slowly observe and pick up on these behaviors. Bit by bit, they'll learn how to manage their own emotions better. And you know what? You'll feel more connected to them. 2. To wrap up, let me just say this: being a parent is tough. But no one expects us to be perfect. What truly matters is that we're willing to grow, to learn, and to love unconditionally. At the end of the day, our children don't need perfect parents, they just need parents who care enough to try. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's share and support each other on this journey.